It's time to set up 2024 for success. I'm going to teach you how I set up my year, my KPI sheet, my performance dashboard, my production calendar, and everything behind the scenes. So let's dive into it right now. Hello and welcome back. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I'm Polly Payne, the CEO and founder of Horatio Printing. I have been creating planners, journals, and devotionals for almost 10 years. Our 10-year anniversary as a company is coming up October 2024. But we have created all sorts of paper products, and I want to take you behind the scenes today on how I set my business goals for the year, what that looks like, what that process has been. I've been working on my business goals and setting up my year for success since around November is really when I started preparing. Went on a CEO retreat in early December, got horribly sick at that retreat. So I spent most of the retreat in my bed nursing a sickness, but I spent the whole month of December also setting up my plans, and I want to take you through the process that I went through, what that looks like, how you can apply it to yourself, especially if you have a product-based business. So that's what we're going to do. And by the way, if you are new here, I'm Polly, and I would love to invite you to hang out with me live. I'm having a free 5-day challenge, January 15th through the 19th, and it's all about how to print your thing. So if you've ever wondered how to print your own thing, whether it's a journal or a devotional or a planner that you've had in your brain and you want to bring it to life, this is a free challenge. It's for you. It comes with incredible workbooks. I'm going to be showing you real printer costs, quotes. We're going to go through the timeline. We're going to go through marketing, launching, ideation. We're going to work on your product together. It's going to be super fun. Just go to horatioprinting.com/print and we can hang out there. All right, so let's dive into the process of goal setting, specifically business goal setting. I have taught a lot about personal goal planning, and I have obviously my dream planner, which mine's right here on my desk. This is my dream planner. And I love teaching people how to set up their year for success, how to dream big for the new year and, make all your plans and set your goals in all areas and really improve your life. But I want to talk to my business girlies, the girls that have a company or you want to have a company one day, what that looks like. So without further ado, grab your journal or your notebook. You're going to want to take notes today. Okay, the first thing that I do that I think is so critical before you start planning and goal setting, you need to look backwards. You need to reflect. So number one is reflection on company performance. That's the very first thing that I do. And how I do that is I usually pull up my KPI sheet. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. Key Performance Indicator. And that's basically the scoreboard of your business. And here's the truth. Hear me. If you cannot read or you don't know the scoreboard of your business, how do you know if you're winning or losing? If you can't read the scoreboard, you don't have a scoreboard, you don't know how a scoreboard works, you can't play the game. You need to have a scoreboard, and that's really what your KPI sheet is, your key performance indicator sheet. I have one in Google Sheet. I use Google for all my Excel stuff. And basically my KPI sheet is a big spreadsheet that has different things that I'm looking at, different key performance indicators like revenue, number of sales, email list, podcast downloads, YouTube views, the things that I want to keep track of throughout the year. And then I have columns by month. So there's January, February, March, April, May. You've probably seen a KPI sheet somewhere. I'll show you a quick video of what mine looks like right now, or the one for the new year. But the KPI sheet helps me see the big performance indicators, which are my revenue, how many sales I got. And that's really important. You want to see, how did we do? What was my goal this year? Did I hit my goal? Did I come close to my goal? Why didn't I hit my goal? Which, by the way, this past year, yay, was our highest revenue year in the history of the company. Woohoo! So exciting, so exciting. But the other thing that's really critical when you're looking at company performance is not just your revenue and sales, but it's your profit. Were you profitable? I've had years where I brought in more revenue and it was like, oh, yay, I went up in revenue, but my expenses went up. So even though I made more cash in the door, I kept less cash in my pocket. And so that's really critical, not just to have huge revenue, because yeah, you could have $1 million company, but if you're spending $900,000 to have $1 million company, like that's not super great. Like that's pretty small when it comes to the profit. You know what I mean? You're only keeping that little 10%. I want a higher profitability. And so the way that we find that out is we look at our expenses. So it's your revenue less expenses is your profit. And how I do that is I pop into QuickBooks. QuickBooks is my platform that I use for all my bookkeeping. And that's something that is taught inside of my course, The Faith-Filled Business Blueprint. I don't go in depth in there, but I did bring in my bookkeeper to teach that module and show you how to set up your QuickBooks. But it's just important that every single dollar that is spent with your business money is recorded and categorized. And you know, okay, that was part of costs of goods sold. Like how much did we spend making these planners? How much did we spend shipping these planners? How much did I spend paying employees? How much did I pay in subscription fees? Those things can really add up and those expenses can go kind of crazy. And if you are someone that you know is like super spendy, there's always people that are like super frugal and super spendy. I'm the kind of super spendy on certain things. And I can get really hooked on like, ooh, a new app. It's only $29 a month. And then all those $29 a month apps add up. And you can forget that you even signed up for it. You've done this probably with some sort of, like a Hulu type thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, I haven't even used this. And you've been paying the subscription fee. So it's so important to look at expenses. And by doing this, by just looking at the cold hard data, you can follow the mantra, which I love, of data over drama. Like, what does the data say? The data lets you know, did I hit my goal or did I not hit my goal? It lets you see the cold hard expenses of how profitable or unprofitable the business is so that you can adjust. So I can make changes. And that's what I do. I make lots of adjustments in this stage. And also when we get to step 4, which is strategic planning, when we decide, okay, what am I getting out of here? So every year I sit down with my expenses with a fine-tooth comb. It's kind of laborious, but having a bookkeeper who has already categorized all my expenses for me is so nice. And I can just go in and see, okay, I go into QuickBooks, I pull a P&L report, which is called profit and loss, and I can see exactly how much money my business has made and how much I've spent in expenses by month. And I can see, okay, wow, this month dues and subscriptions were $3,000. What was that? And I'll go through every single expense in my business at least once a year and figure out what needs to go. And I'll make a list. Delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this, like get rid of that. We don't need this, we don't need that. And then you have to make the bigger decisions. Like a few years ago, I made the decision to shut down my warehouse and completely outsource my warehouse. And that saved us a ton of money because it was a really expensive rent. It was like $1,700 a month, plus all of the fees that come with owning a warehouse with employees and all the stuff. Now I pay a lot less per month, but I had to look at that data analysis and decide like, this is going to be so annoying to make this huge transition. It's kind of like moving it into a new house. Like there's just so much work that goes into it. Like, is it worth the return and the long-term payoff, which it was. Anyway, so that's the first step, is reflecting backwards. How did we do month over month? Did I hit my goal? Where was I at with my revenue? And where was I at with my expenses? And then you're like, okay, now I can look forward, okay? But before you go forward, there's one more step that I take in reflection mode. So the first step was company performance overall, looking at revenue, sales, expenses, and really looking at that profit and loss report to understand how much profit did I make. Now, the second step that I do in my goal setting process is look at my team. Look at my team and do kind of an evaluation on how we're doing and also the capacity we're at. I want to make sure I understand every single team member I have, and are they doing well? Are they in the right role? And where are they at with capacity? Do they have room to grow? Do they want to grow? Do they want more hours? Do they want new skills? And so I'll take each of my team members, and we basically have a company org chart and just kind of understand like what are all the tasks and responsibilities associated with every single team member. And for me, my business, I have two whole branches of my company. We've got my product-based business, and then we have print school, which print school in my education branch of my business is where I teach other people how to start a planner business, how to start a journal business, how to start an all-in-all printing business, which you can learn more about that at horacioprinting.com/print school. But I have two completely different businesses. So there's some people that just live in one branch, some people over here, some people are in the middle. And so I want to look at everybody and say, okay, how are they doing? Are they happy? And where are we at with capacity, including myself? How much is on my plate? Like taking time to reflect on that and understand strengths, weaknesses, and areas for growth. And really deciding like, do I need to move people around? Because sometimes after someone's worked for you for a while, you can see like, yeah, they can do everything, but they're really good at this. And like, why not let them be the owner of that? Or like, let them, where are they going with this? Some people, they get in a role and they absolutely just want to stay there. And they're like, this is good. Like, I don't have any more capacity. I'm happy doing this. I'm staying at home with my kids. This is how many hours I have. And it's like, okay, we're done. We're good. We'll stay here until next time we have a meeting, But that's the second thing that I want to do is look at my team. And if you don't have any team members yet, that's fine. This is a good time to think about the future org chart of your business. What do you want to hand off first? Where do you need some support? One of the first places that I got support when I started my planner company, and I think one of the biggest time sucks, is customer service. Answering the emails. I can't find my tracking number, like can't find my planner, la la la. Like all those questions that come in. Hey, can you help me make my own thing? Or hey, can I buy 20 of these devotionals for my small group? Can I have a discount? Like there's just so many emails that come in. So that's one of the first things that I like to outsource, but I want it to be outsourced well. You want to make sure that your values are passed on to that person. And so we created an intense like help desk with all of the canned responses, which that's a resource that I give all of my print school students in module 5 of print school, which is all about fulfillment and shipping, whether you want to outsource your shipping or do it in your home or partner with Amazon. And then we give you all of the customer service templates that Horatio Printing uses, and then you go through and modify them to have your voice, to have your rules. Like, do you want to offer free returns? I don't. I make people ship it back, but you'll choose what you want to do with it. So that's a great resource that we give. And that's a great place to start, is getting out of the inbox so you can run your business and grow your business and be forward thinking. Okay, the third step, you ready? So first step, we did reflection on company performance. The second step was reflection on the team and capacity. And the third step is projections and really goal setting, which this is the fun part. This is the dreaming ahead time when we're thinking about where we want to go, what's possible next year, what are my goals that I'm setting. And this part can be kind of, scary, because once you have a big goal, I understand what it's like. You have a big goal, you have a big dream, and you're scared that you're going to fail. So you almost want to bring the bar down a little bit, because it's like, oh, that's like, I've never been there before. I've never done this before. Like it feels high. It feels scary. And I'll say that never goes away. Like every year when I set a bigger goal, like it's still scary, but it's also super exciting. And the thing is, if you don't hit the goal, it's not that you're a lesser person. Like I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't hit my goal. I've had tons of goals I haven't hit. It's just a matter of keep going. If you're able to dream, that's a sign that you still have hope. And hope is a beautiful thing. And at the end of the day, my whole business is surrendered to God anyway. It's His. So I like to approach dreaming and goal setting from a perspective of childlike anticipation, but also like it's okay if I don't get everything that I've asked for. Like I've surrendered it. And also, some blessings, almost all really, can become burdens. They can be heavy. Blessings carry weight. If you will jump from being a 50K business to $1 million business, let me tell you, that's going to be exciting and it's going to be heavy. And I am a big fan of the slow grow, because then you can build things to last and you're not busting at the seams, making painful, expensive mistakes. Anyways, that's a kind of a soapbox I got off on. But segment 3, okay, step 3, I do my projections and my goal setting. So when I'm goal setting for my business, I'm really just looking at the next 12 months, like, January to December. What am I looking at for that? And you could do different. You could do your goal setting with more of the planner year, like July to July, which honestly would make sense because that's the revenue you'd get from a whole planner launch if you did a planner launch, in the first of the year. But for me, I like to keep it simple. I do January to December. So my revenue is mixed with a little bit of like 2024 planner and some 2025 planner, and that's okay. But that's how I do it. I'm looking at the next 12 months and what are my projections. So this is how I do it. I build a fresh KPI sheet. Remember, we just talked about that key performance indicator. I basically duplicate the tab on my sheet and I will clean out all the data from last year. And I'll look at, do I want to change what I'm tracking? Is there anything new? Like, for example, last year I wasn't really tracking YouTube views. And now, hello, I'm on YouTube. And YouTube's really fun. And I've had so much fun hanging out with you guys. And so now I'm tracking my YouTube views. I'm tracking my subscribers, which, by the way, you should totally subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And so I'm tracking these. You will be part of my report if you subscribe. Anyways, so I'll stop being weird. So what I like to do is I will build my projections based on what I did this year. So for example, if I did 50K in January, I'll build a preliminary line item called projections, like what I'm projecting. And in January, I'll put 50K. Like if I did that last year, why can't I do that this year? And the goal is to grow. So you can make a line item of what I did last year. And then you can say, do I want to grow 10% this year? Do I want to shoot for a 20% growth? Do I want to shoot for like doubling? That's a huge goal. But basically, for me, I will build my future projections based on what I did last year. Then, of course, you're going to have to figure out, where's the 10% going to come from? What's the 20% going to come from? And that's where you look at your strategies and that strategic planning, which we'll get into next. So I really want to see on my new KPI sheet a line item for each product, for each thing in my business, like how much in planner sales, how much in Bible study sales. And I'll take exactly what my data was from last year and I'll just pop it into next year. And then I'll say, okay, let's times this by 20% and try to grow overall in revenue 20%, something like that. You have to choose what's right for you, what feels good for you. Maybe you want to keep everything constant and just add a new offering and a new product or something like that. So that is really how I do my projections and goals. If I have a new product that I plan to launch, for example, this year coming up, we have a new Bible study that we're going to be launching with our planner collection. I'm going to have a line item and a goal associated with that starting in October when we start actually selling Soap Volume 5. Yay, I'm so excited. So each new main umbrella of product, I won't do it by every single product, like a goal for Soap Volume 1, a goal for Soap Volume 2. I'll just kind of umbrella that into like soap, because it's going to be 5 volumes, but I'm going to add in what is my revenue for October around Soap Volume 5. Now, you can get really granular with this and build a whole projection sheet because you do have to decide, how am I going to grow the 10%? Is it going to be from ads? Am I going to test out ads and spend $1,000 a month on Facebook ads? Am I going to do a TikTok strategy this year and do TikTok videos? Am I going to make a YouTube channel and do unboxings and plan with me's and like fun videos on YouTube. How am I going to make up the 10%? Am I going to do a PR campaign with influencers? Like, what is that strategy going to be? That's really important because you can't just always expect growth without trying something new. There is a lot of organic growth that happens when you have a good product, when you have great customers that come back. And that's why retention is so critical, which I've taught a lot about on this channel. The importance of retention for growth. You have to keep those customers coming back. Okay, so let's move on to step 4. We've done our goal setting and projections. We put them in our KPI sheet. We have them. That way, at the end of January or the end of February, we can say, okay, here was my sales and here was my projected goal that I had. Where am I at with that? And those numbers add up throughout the year. So step 4 is my favorite part, strategic planning. I'm a planner girl through and through. And this is definitely my favorite part of the process is planning out my year. Like I was just kind of talking about it, but what am I doing different this year in terms of strategy for growth and for marketing? And what products am I going to launch? What projects am I going to do? This is also a great time to think about, okay, now that I have these big goals and I want to grow a certain product by 20%, what needs to be erased? What needs to be deleted? What needs to be delegated? What needs to be outsourced? Maybe it's something in your business. Maybe it's something in your home, like grocery shopping or cleaning, the monthly big cleaning. That's something that I started outsourcing in my life, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And but just exploring that, what needs to go away? It was probably 3 years ago where I really took a machete to my printing business, and because every year I was coming out with 100 different little things, but the problem was I didn't have enough energy going into my main thing. And my main thing is my planners. That's really my moneymaker in my business, my planners and my Bible studies. And I was doing so many other things and I didn't have the right team on board to help me. And I was drowning. I'll be honest. Like I was drowning because I didn't have the right team and I was constantly launching new things because I love creating new things. And that's like my favorite thing is like helping to do that, which is why I love print school, because it gets to scratch that itch. I help students create all sorts of stuff and I can help other people with their ideation. That's like the best part. And anyways, long story short, I didn't have enough energy to grow The Big Pumpkin, which is a great book by Mike Michalowicz, The Big Pumpkin. Anyways, and so I erased so many different products out of my line. Like I erased so many different products and it helped me to actually grow the products that I cared the most about. It helped me with my profitability. It helped me with my time management. And so I really pared things down, and it was really important to sit down and do that versus always chasing the new shiny thing. And I'll have people email me all the time like, hey, can you make a this? Can you make a that? Can you make a this? Can you make a that? And it's like, I can't make everything all the time. I'm very, very careful with what I say yes to now. And so this is the time to think about it and go, okay, what am I want to create? What projects do I want to pursue? Because I have kids, I've got a busy life, and there's only so much that I can say yes to, and I have to be strategic with what I put my resources to, with what I put in terms of business expenses, what I put my heart and soul into, what's going to bring me joy and also bring the company profit. And so that's when I do my strategic planning, where I think about what needs to be birthed, what needs to be created, what needs to be outsourced, what needs to be erased. And from this is really where I will start to plan out my production calendar, understanding when am I getting started on my next Dream Planner collection, when are we going to be printing, when are we going to be delivering, all of that kind of stuff. Which brings me to my next step. Step 5, after you've done your strategic planning, is planner collection prep, which this is a very special step for me because I have a planner company. If you don't have a planner company, this might be, journal collection or whatever product or resource that you provide to the world. So step 6 is really where I finished building out my production calendar. Okay, so now I know here it is. Here's 2024. When am I doing ideation? When are we doing design? When are we going through the editing? When are we printing a sample? When are we printing the mass order? When are we launching? And we build out that project board workflow in our project management system. This is what I teach to my print school students: how to set up your timeline, how to set up your launch, how to move from A to Z. And this is also where right now, which is so exciting, we're working on 2025. We're already getting this set up for ourselves, getting ahead of the ball. And one thing that is really important in this step is we always create a really fun quiz, like a fun survey, and send it out to all of our customers and ask them, like, hey, what do you want to see in the next collection? Do you want blush? Do you want white marble? Do you want the black leather coil? Do you want, the horizontal layout? Do you want the vertical layout? Like, which layout do you like? And we let them vote, because that really helps me decide which styles are going to be the most successful and which styles should I buy, which styles should I create. And so that's a big step. Step 5 is basically planner collection prep, which I can't believe we're barely into 2024 and I'm already mentally in 2025. It's just crazy. So I want to get that valuable feedback from my customers, because that also allows them to feel connected and invested in the business. So that is step 5. And we're at our last step. We're here. Here we are. The last step of this, which I think is so important, is dreaming for me. Like, this is what I would consider like CEO vision casting. This is when I am truly sitting down with, what is the life I want to live? What matters to me? And usually I'll sit down and write myself a letter a year from now and just say, okay, what do I want this life to live like? How old are my children a year from now? What do I want the cadence and the rhythm of me running my business to look like? Who am I handing stuff off to? Who am I having a meeting with? What's not on my plate? And I want to sit down and think about what I want to take off my plate. It's also when I start to write down my dreams, like my retirement goals. How many hours per week do I want to work this year? What are my personal giving goals and impact goals that I want to reach? And just identifying what personal values I want to protect and have boundaries on in this year. Because I can have a gigantic goal, but is it going to crush my marriage? Is it going to take me away from my kids? I want to make sure I'm being really conscientious of building something with God that's also going to be honoring to the blessings He's given me. And so that's the final step, is really planning. And I do all of that in my planner, which these are almost sold out. We only have 100 left. So if you wanted one, grab one. HoracioPrinting.com/2024. You can grab your planner. I think we only have the vertical layout left, which is my favorite. So you can grab one of those. But I want to make sure that my values are solidified and I'm not just running towards the revenue goal. I'm also running towards who I want to become, because that is so important. And I do believe that this will be your best year yet if it's your best year spiritually. And so setting goals spiritually, setting goals in your home, in your marriage, in your motherhood, and just making sure that all those little buckets have at least a little bit of seeds planted, so you can harvest the fruit that you want this year. So anyways, that is my full long-winded goal planning for my business. That's how I do it. And I would love to support you in your goal planning. I would love to work with you in print school and help you set up your year and set up your launch and set up your business. And so if you would like to jump in, go to HoracioPrinting.com/print school. I would love to welcome you in there. And if you have any questions, please comment them below this video. I'd love to connect with you. If there's something you want to see on this channel, on this podcast, please let me know. I would love to create a video of something you would like, just so you know what's coming up next. Just make sure you subscribe. The next episode is going to be an interview with one of my incredible print school students who just did her Kickstarter and was over goal of her really cool Unstuck journal. So I can't wait for you to see that interview. In the next episode, it's going to be how I left my 9 to 5. I'm going to go through my journey of how I quit my job, when I did it, how to do it effectively. Because I did get a lot of mentorship in making that big jump because I was living in New York. Life was expensive. It was a big risk. I had a great career, but yet I just knew I needed to get out. So I built my escape plan and did it really thoughtfully. And so I'm going to share with you my escape plan, my heart behind it, and resources for you to escape your 9 to 5. So stay tuned for the next couple episodes. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. If you are more interested in print school and you want to watch my free workshop, I have a free workshop for you. Just go to horatioprinting.com/workshop. It's there. I'll meet you over there. Have a wonderful day. You are so blessed.